Good morning and welcome back to the second Malaysia Pokemon Regionals VGC. I'm Arcliffe
And of course,
and we'll be your commentators for today's semi-finals match, which would feature Kevin Ngim versus Poh Yu Jie. So before we move on to the matches itself, we'll have a short introduction of who the players are. We have Kevin Ngim, who is our very own Malaysian player who has done very well in many Premier Challenges as well as higher ranked in the mid-season showdowns as well as regionals. And we have Poh Yu Jie from Singapore who has won the previous Malaysia regionals in December. And Coach, any words for yourself?
yeah, and in previous matches, Kevin actually won against Ayman and also Yu Jie won against Wilson.
Yes, that's right. So we'll be moving on to while we're waiting for them to set up their match settings. So we have our statistics coming up right now, where as I've said before, with Ismat we have the lead, which is of course Groudon, Kangaskhan, Kyogre, Salamence and Talonflame. But at the same time we see that there are not much Xerneases coming and only trailing back at number 18. And the third most used Megas, which have heavily reduced in usage, is Mewal itself, in comparison to the other two Megas of Kangaskhan and Salamence at double digits.
Yes, and actually from today's top card teams here, we can see actually there are 4 teams using the dual primals instead of the big 6 team itself.
Yeah, as we seen in the previous stream itself, double primals itself being very strong and having the ability to not just only manipulate weather freely, but to adapt even better to changing circumstances in the form of the big 6, for example. Now we're moving on to the team previews itself. So as you can see, on your left here is Kevin's. If I'm not mistaken, that is Kevin's team on the side, which is also a big 6 in itself. We have Smeargle, Salamence, Talonflame, Xerneas, Kangaskhan, Groudon, and on Poh Yu Jie's side on the right,
we do have the Kangaskhan, Thundurus.
Sorry, down there.
Down there. Oh.
Yeah, sorry. Looks like there seems to be a small mistake in the screen here. Actually, Kevin's team is Groudon, Xerneas, Thundurus, Cresselia, Salamence, and Smeargle, whereas Yu Jie's team on the bottom there is Pokézard.
Is the Bronzong, Kangaskhan, Groudon, Kyogre, Mawile, and also the Among Us.
So as you can see here, once again, like one side is using a big 6 variant, and Yu Jie's team is using a double primals. Now the double primal team is very similar to what we've seen Cybertron use previously with his Bronzong as well, going in tandem with Groudon as well. But at the same time, you can see that there's also an Among Us there, which I think is potentially there to counter Trick Rooms in itself from the opposing side.
Yes, and for the big 6 variant here, we can see Kevin actually changed the Cresselia in to replace the position of the Talonflame, and also he brings the Thundurus.
And now we're moving on straight to the match right now as both players start their match. Now, okay, you see Pokézard, which is Yu Jie, Sandra, Groudon, and Cresselia.
And we can see Kevin's actually leading the team.
Hold on. That's not. Okay, so Kevin is the one who sent out Cresselia and Groudon, which you can see on our side of the field. And we have Yu Jie on the other side.
The Bronzong,
and
also the Kangaskhan.
So, will a Trick Room be coming up here, or maybe even a double Trick Room?
Yes, because the Cresselia and Bronzong both are quite common Trick Room setter in this meta as well.
So we have here, I think the fake out on the Groudon is very obvious, since Cresselia provides only more of a support role. So it depends on whether or not Yu Jie wants to go for the Trick Room on his Bronzong itself, and he might have the Among Us at the back.
Yes, and Kevin's side, the Cresselia, as mentioned, we're not sure whether he's carrying the Trick Room or not, and let's see what's the Kangaskhan actually.
But it'll be obvious that a Cresselia would want to carry Skill Swap. I mean not Skill Swap, I mean Trick Room. Yes. It'll be very obvious for it to use it. So here we go, switching into Salamence itself, and this will get the Intimidate boost onto the Kangaskhan, as well as the Bronzong for maybe to reduce Gyro Ball damage.
Yes, and we can see actually Kangaskhan going to be Mega Evolve, and we do expecting the Fake Out coming out onto the Groudon.
Yeah, that would be a very obvious move, and then you can set up Trick Room with its with the Bronzong, and next turn it would switch out into Among Us. So there we go. And yep, Trick Room actually coming out here from the Bronzong. So this next turn we would assume that Among Us would come in if it wants to, unless like it chooses to sack the Kangaskhan. Now Salamence here actually is at a speed die with the Kangaskhan. Given the fact that if it is not at full speed, of course.
Yes.
But here we go. The ground actually comes in now. Hyper Voice here will be really good, as well as the Precipice. But unless the skill swap also comes in.
Yeah, the skill shot actually can still changing the flow of the battle here.
But I think here a Fire Punch into the Bronzong would be very obvious. And a Hyper Voice from the Salamence there to deal damage to the Groudon. Yep, skill swap here coming in. So this would give Levitate to Groudon. Now Bronzong here serves a similar purpose to Cresselia, coming in speed control.
And it also helps the Groudon to remove the one of the crucial weakness, which is the ground type over here.
Actually, Salamence here goes in for a substitute. So now even if he brings in his Among Us for a if I'm not mistaken, for a Spore, it won't be able to connect with through the substitute. But
Yes.
actually Kyogre comes in.
And it actually wipes the weather into the rain.
So this is how you double primals work their weathers. They will always come in and switch the weathers to their advantage. But I think like Groudon switching out here will be very obvious. Cresselia should be able to come here safely, I assume.
Yes, as if let's say he's predicting the Pre-Spice Blade coming out.
Maybe he is. I think the Precipice Blades here will definitely be coming, or a Rock Slide in itself.
Yes.
As well, but like since Kyogre can already knock out the Groudon with a very easy Water Spot or Ice Beam, or Arctic Pulse.
Okay, you can see Salamence actually using the Protect.
Now Salamence going for a Protect is very obvious, depending on what. There you go, a Rock Slide actually coming in from that Groudon, very obvious move there because it needs to hit the Salamence. But
Yes,
Water Spot actually going out first, so here he knows that that it's slower than his Groudon, and that I would say Yu Jie's Groudon is the slowest, and then coming in very closely by the Kyogre, which should be it should be calculated by Yu Jie itself.
Yes.
So yep, Cresselia actually comes in here. So will skill swaps go in here, or like, will he untrick room?
Yeah, because here I believe the Cresselia might be the slowest one among these four.
Yeah, it could be, but what can you skill swap out to? That's the thing.
Yes, so it's because just now the Bronzong switched away the
Yeah, he took away the primal weather.
yes, so that's the
So and without Groudon being on field, it's gonna be quite difficult for Kevin to bring this back into his favor. He has a Salamence under substitute, but with it just not giving damage and being a very passive role, it has failed to do any sort of damage to both Pokemon.
and you can see the
So once again, a
double
Rock Slide, and
protect.
Salamence actually avoids the
Avoids
Rock
it.
Slide here, so giving it a chance to actually survive the next hit, whether it be a Water Spot. So will this pick up Water Spot? It does not pick up the KO onto the Cresselia. And here we go. I think the substitute should fade right now.
Yes, let's see what's
It
the
would
Cresselia
untrigger,
trying
but no
to do
Thunder
here.
Wave actually going
Yes,
into.
the Kyogre.
I think he's predicting because Trick Room turns are already expiring.
Yes, and from here, yep, it's not yet. So now the Kyogre will be the first one to move here, I
It
believe.
should be, but here Salamence can easily pull off with a Protect. And
Yes.
Cresselia would go for doesn't even need to Trick Room anymore since this should be the last turn. So you got Water Spot once again. This will pick up the KO on the Cresselia. But what will happen to the Growler? Let's think now. Assuming that at the back is a Xerneas or maybe a Thundurus coming in from Kevin's side, we don't really know. And actually, it is
A
that
Xerneas.
Xerneas. So I think right here, a very good move for it to go is just for a Geomancy, and yeah, Geomancy distant and double edge straight onto the paralyzed Kyogre.
Yep, so now the Paralyze is a very crucial
But you could
terms
also go for just the Hyper Voice, pick up a lot of damage onto the Groudon, as well as deal a sufficient amount of damage, get the Geomancy boost up, and then go straight for the Dazzling Gleams the next turn.
Yeah, and then after that, Xerneas might be able to starting his swipe.
Yeah, but you just need to watch out for the Kangaskhan, I guess, at the back. Now it's very important for Yu Jie to not get paralyzed by his on his Kyogre in order for him to win this match, because he needs to deal sufficient damage to both Pokemon. But Salamence actually goes for another substitute. I'm not too sure why, but you got a Geomancy coming here, so because maybe the Groudon would be forced to go into a Rock Slide maybe, but an Ice Beam from the here, Yu Jie might be predicting for Hyper Voice Double Edge and go straight for an Ice Beam.
Yeah, because as just now you mentioned, the Salamence might try to do the protect earlier. They actually tried using the substitute for this.
And here we go, actually goes for a Precipice Blade, so this turn, the Salamence can still live, doing almost 50% damage, and an Ice Beam actually going into the Salamence, so he actually predicted well.
Yes.
Instead of going for protect, which I think he should have, honestly. But maybe he predicted for a Water Spot, maybe, and whatnot. But now with
Xerneas setting up the Geomancy,
he can easily go for another, not just the Precipice Blades, but he can just go for, a Dazzling Gleam and a Hyper Voice combo here.
Yes, so this will actually deal a very huge damage to Groudon.
Do remember that the Groudon not been damaged throughout the match yet.
Yes,
even though it has been paralyzed, but the only thing that's been happening is that Kevin's has only been setting up so far.
Yep, so let's see whether the Xerneas will be able to do his job to swipe the game here, sweep the games.
It should be able to, but you need to take out at least Groudon in this turn in order to make a difference, because I think Groudon is the key thing to get rid of, because it threatens the Xerneas with his physical. So you got Dazzling Gleam coming here. Let's see how much damage it does. Ooh, picking up quite a lot of damage, and Double Edge into the Kyogre, I assume. Yes, now will this pick up the KO? And it does,
so now
great move there from, but the Precipice Blades here would definitely hurt.
And now we can
it actually goes for a Rock Slide in itself, so
it does connect to both of the Pokemon, and we believe the Salamence will be able to take
on the Salamence. Now that's why I think he should have protected the last turn rather than going for a substitute.
True.
Which I'm not too sure why. Maybe he expected another miss on the Rock Slide. But here Xerneas is not in a good position.
Yes, and we can see the Kangaskhan coming in.
So I guess he can protect this turn, and but it won't be able to pick up the KO on its own. So yep, Xerneas goes for a protect. So what will the Groudon go for? Fake out, obviously.
Yes, and we can see
and goes for a Precipice
Blade coming out.
So maybe he can pray that the Precipice Blades miss and goes for a Moonblast onto the Kangaskhan. Possibly.
Yep, this is one of the winning condition for Kevin's
side. Go for a 5 punch right now, but without the sun boosting the damage from it, it's very difficult for it.
Yeah, we are not sure whether he will be able to.
So yep, Moonblast into the Kangaskhan. This picks up the KO definitely.
Yes.
And what will the Groudon? Will the Groudon be able to connect with Precipice Blades? And
Blade coming out. There's a single target Precipice Blade, and
this should pick up the KO onto the Kangaskhan. Now, like I said, it was better for him to go on protect with the Salamence and easily go for a substitute distance, expecting the fake out and or, if I'm not mistaken, the Sucker Punch that will come out the next turn. So there we go. Kevin actually like messing it up a bit, I guess.
Or maybe he's just trying.
Maybe he's just trying to test the waters,
Yes, to scout what the opponent's doing here.
So Kevin actually managed to maneuver himself in a good position late game, but I think the mistake, like I said many times before, was the substitute onto the Salamence. He should have just gone for a protect that then. So who knows what might happen this turn.
Yes, and let us see the next round here. So as we can see on the screen here, we'll just Pokemon with the Bronzong, Kangaskhan, Groudon, Kyogre, Mawile, and also Among Us.
While the Bronzong was able to set up Trick Room, I think it didn't really manage to serve anything else per se. And Groudon being Groudon can literally do what it wishes.
And let's see whether they're still bringing the same leads here to see whether, or maybe they want to adjust the strategy.
But having Smurgle in front will also be quite nice. You really want to threaten it out with the Dark Void, but the Lum Berry on the
suspecting Lum Berry on the Bronzong, it might be actually
it could also
turning the game.
It could also ensure that Trick Room goes up, but for all we know, it could carry Mental Herb.
Yes.
So actually, it goes for a Salamence and Smurgle. So he wants to have the threat of the.
He's using the Intimidate, pressuring the opponents.
This would severely threaten the. Oh, actually now with Salamence on field, that threatens the
Among Us
greatly, because the Double Edge can easily pick up a knockout here, unless it's sashed, of course. Which we've seen in most cases that They are, but previously 2015, VGC 2015, you would see that
Rocky
the
helmet will be quite commonly seen.
the helmet, you see Citrus Berry, but in this meta game, Mental Herb, Poker Sash, Lamberry has been more of a dominating item choices.
Yes, and yeah, we do sometimes see some citrus berry as well.
Correct, that's right.
So now we can see, let us see whether the Bronzor may pull out a trade room for this time.
Maybe a Protect trade room here would be quite obvious, honestly.
Yes.
So yep, Protect coming in. So I think a Hyper Voice or a Double Edge here.
And Smeargle using a fake out, so he actually stopped the trade room he's setting
Yeah,
up
so
for
that's
this
very
turn.
smart here coming from that side, from Kevin's side, sorry. And Smurgle here can always go for another Dark Void this turn if it wishes.
Yes, as the opponent's Pokemon seems slightly will be slower than the Smeargle. So the Dark Void, if it's connect,
So you
then
got Double Edge onto the... picking up the KO on it. So it seems that it's working in the favor of Poh Yu Jie, but
we can see the Rocket Helmet actually dealt some damage to Salamence.
yep, and including with the recall itself. Now Smuggle goes for a Dark Void. Of course, the Lamberry activates this turn, so nothing really much happening here.
And we can see the trade room should be starting up here.
So yep, and it does reveal to have the Lamberry, so Trick Room is definitely going up this turn. So Poh Yu Jie really focusing on getting his Trick Room up.
Yep. And from the team preview, it means that the Yu Jie actually quite heavily rely on the trade room. So you can see the Groudon coming in.
So a Gyro Ball, Rock Slide here would be, you know, would be a very obvious.
Yes. Also, he can, if he's hit, he can actually deal very good damage to the Salamence here.
So unless like that what you can do is that you can go for a double protect, stall out one turn of Trigger Room, and then next turn like pray that it misses, I guess. It's not easy because Yu Jie is managing to maneuver himself with the proper switch-ins right here, and that Bronzong has been annoying Kevin at the back here. I think, yep, Gyro Ball
and
going
we can
in.
see Gyro Ball connecting.
I think he predicted a protect into it.
Oops, but it didn't
And
actually.
Smurgle actually going for a Dark Void, which he managed to underspeed the Groudon and the Bronzong itself. Kevin giving a very cheeky look right there.
Yes, and we
So
can see
now
the,
there they go to sleep, and a Hyper Voice here, or maybe a substitute would be optimal for on.
yes, the Dark Void
Yu Jie's
connects
Sorry,
here,
on
actually
Kevin's
doing
side,
a
so-
very good position for Kevin at this moment.
So Kevin really is soaking in the limelight here, with Yu Jie expecting it to be a fast
Smeargle,
but
but
expecting
indeed,
it to be a slow one.
yes, which is quite frequently used in recent matches originals that the slow Smeargle is taking the position to counter opponent's trade room.
Yes, because it's necessary for them to, because right now with the weird speed tiers of Kangaskhan, I mean like not just Kangaskhan but
Groudon,
Kyogre, Groudon, all having very weird speed tiers, and base 90 it's too fast but it's also too slow.
Yes, so with the slow Smeargle, which sometimes might actually turns the game around.
Correct. So question is right now, like, will it wake up?
Yes,
So no.
and
So will that Groudon wake up and be able to go for Rock Slide or Precipice Blades? And no, actually it sleeps this
Yep,
turn.
both sleep on the
free
first
Hyper
turn
Voice
here.
from Salamence.
and take contact. Let's see how's the damage doing here. Dear,
So assuming that the Bronzong would still be asleep this turn, he could pull off a Precipice Blades easily, or he could go for a Fire Punch into the Bronzong slot.
but we do expecting the Bronzong actually should carrying the Levitate here. So like, so let's see the Groudon whether
No,
wants
it depends whether it wakes up. Actually, he switches out back into his Smurgle, I think.
Okay.
Okay, a very weird choice there. I mean, it was a perfectly good turn to go for anything, but
And
no,
we can
he
see the
predicted-
Bronzong
there you go,
woke up
skill
and the
swap.
skill swap coming in.
So that's a very if the Groudon wakes up, regardless whether the Groudon wakes up this turn,
And yeah, I believe that he wants to protect the Groudon from the Precipice Blade from
Correct.
Kevin's end.
and yes, it actually does
Both
wake up and goes
actually
for a
woke
Rock
up
Slide.
and the Rock Slide.
So still a good prediction there coming in from Kevin itself, being able to take in one very good.
You can see the Hyper Voice doing some good damage on Groudon.
So now I think it's just a matter of waiting for Trick Room to run out. But now that he knows that the Smurgle can be able to pull off a Dark Void easily this turn as well,
Yes.
and prolong the pain for.
And we can see a Spiky Shield coming out here from
I
Smeargle
think like he was expecting
to be a
fake out.
double protect most
Here
likely.
you go, protect.
And let's see. Yeah.
Salaman's also going for Protect to finish off the Trick Rooms.
Yes. So we
So
can.
Terrible actually, I think he should have. Yep, here you go. I think he should
Trick
still
Room.
gone for the Dark Void that turn.
Correct.
But then again, maybe he was afraid of Terrible picking up the KO for all.
Now Salman is the fastest one who can actually deal the damage and try to take the KO onto the Groudon. And let's see, Smeargle most likely will be pull off the Dark Void.
Smeargle can definitely pull off a Dark Void this turn.
Yes, to.
But actually going for a Protect and it fails, so here we go. Hyper Voice picking up the KO. I think he wants to go for another Trick Room here. And you know, praying that it misses.
On the Dark Void.
But
So-
now that Yu Jie's mainly offensive team has
and the
already
Dark
grounded-
Void connect to the.
So with only
Bronzor.
a Kyogre at the back, it doesn't seem too good for Yu Jie at all.
Yes, for this round here. So we can see.
Since it can always, like a double edge coming here from the if Kyogre comes in, yep, and I think that is Kyogre, correct?
Yep.
So Salamence here could easily go for another double edge.
Yes, to deal
And
huge damage.
they'll use
to
damage
the-
and then later on bring in Groudon and just finish things off.
Yes, this should be a quite obvious place here.
So
We can
once again,
predict
Kevin
it.
managing to
Con-
switch things up, adapt to changing situations.
Yes, and he managed to control the pace of this game very well here, including controlling the Trick Room with the Smeargle and
Correct. Even under Trick Room, he manages to control it by underspeeding the Groudon with a very slow Smeargle.
yes.
So here you go, Yu Jie actually forfeits knowing that he can't do anything with a Groudon at the back. So this brings us to game number 3.
Yes. And the winners will actually advance to the finals of today's.
So
regional.
here's to the best player to be able to go to the finals itself. So what do you think from the match before?
Actually, with the turn that both Pokemon work out on that turn, Kevin's switching, that one is quite a good predicting move.
Yeah, I think he was forced to go for a Rock Slide anyways. If he went for a Precipice, he will not be able to hit the Salamence, which I
True.
think he needed to kind of force the Salamence out sooner or later. So we'll see this match on how Kevin, or I would say how Yu Jie, chooses to adapt to the changing situations. Now that
Yes.
he knows that the Smeargle is a slow Smeargle.
Yes, and we can see the first and second match, Yu Jie using the same lead, while Kevin is changing the leads. Now, let's see whether in the third game, whether
Yu
they
Jie
want
will
to
change his
maintain.
leads, yeah.
Yes, so let's see whether Yu Jie want to change his leads or not, and whether he want to continue with the Trick Room.
I think Trick Room is the most beneficial for Yu Jie's side, but still waiting for. I think here what Kevin can pull off, actually on his own, is that while his Salamence serves a very good purpose in itself, that Thunderous as well can come in quite handy, I think.
Because with the Prankster ability, it don't actually.
But I'm pretty
worry
sure he'll
about
be
the-
needing the Xerneas at the back. You know, and here goes Smeargle Salamence once again.
Yes, and we can see
So Yu Jie
Yu
here we
Jie.
should be sending, and it's the Kangaskhan and
Bronzor.
Bronzor.
so it's the first round leads here.
So here, this would definitely mitigate any forms of Selamat pagi, Selamat pagi Silver Arrow 180, or should I say Zain Khalid. Buatlah yang terbaik untuk examination bahasa Melayu anda pada esok hari. Okay, now back to the match itself. Now that we've seen that itself,
We can see Salamence.
Salamence actually going for a Mega
Evolution.
Evolution here, so I think Hyper Voice will be very obvious. Maybe a Dark Void. I think the Fake Out onto the Smeargle would be very obvious.
Yep, but as we also notice that the Smeargle also carrying the spiky shell.
Yeah,
Let's
correct.
see what's
So
the
I think,
prediction
like,
from the Kevin
I
side.
think like it would be safe just to go for it. Yep, Salamence actually going for a sub, so this prevents any form. Oh, actually,
Oh, the Fake Out didn't coming out.
yeah. So double edge, I think
we can
straight
see
into
double
the,
edge coming out.
onto the
and-
Smeargle. Wow.
It did a very good damage
Actually
and
picking up the KO
KO.
now. So not
Think
too good.
to-
I think he should have just gone for a. It should have gone straight for Protect or Spiky Shield that first turn. Now I think what he predicted was that, you know, going for his own Fake Out and stuff, but Yu Jie actually going for a very ballsy play itself. And as you can see, no Trick Room up just yet. So now that Groudon's in, this might spice a little bit. Kyogre's at the back.
So it's a very decision for
Yeah.
Kevin's.
Ready to go for a Fire Punch or a Precipice Blade. Precipice would be the safest move, but by
But
doing
it
so,
will-
he will not be able to hit the
Bronzor
yeah,
because
correct.
of the levitate. And from the previous reaction from Kevin, maybe he did actually
Maybe
calculated
he
the
did
EV
calculate it to
for
survive a
Smeagol.
double
Yes,
edge, but
maybe it's a high roll
correct, I
here,
think it's
which
a high roll on
actually,
both attacks.
yes, the double hit on the.
So there you go, ladies and gentlemen, why Mega Kangaskhan is so broken. We will never know why VGC 16 is full of hacks. We will never know when the meta will rebalance, but we will know that Dark Void will still be prominent. So there we go, Bronzong she switches. I think a Kyogre would come in right now. So
Yes.
if he actually goes for the safe Precipice Blades, it would pick up sheer amounts of damage.
Yes, to
Depends
both
on what
Pokemon.
Kevin goes for
On the prediction here. And let us see.
I think a Hyper Voice and Precipice would be good here. Or a Double Edge.
Oh, it did, actually the Kangaskhan also might come in with the Sucker Punch here, but
So Double Edge straight into the Kangaskhan,
Kangaskhan
not
is
being able to lock
survive.
KO. So, but and yep, Groudon actually going for a Fire Punch, and Double Edge I think will go on the Salamence. Yep, and this should pick up the KO having Paratal Bond and Stab. I guess he really wanted the Bronzong to be put out of order.
yes, because the Trick Room is a very threatening to Kevin's side here.
Correct, right now. So I think his Xerneas would come in, but with the Bronzong on the other side, it does not look good.
For Xerneas
Correct.
to continue here.
So here, I think that if he went for a Precipice Blades and like Hyper Voice or a Double Edge onto that slot, it would be sufficient enough to pick up the KO.
Okay, we can see Rock Slide coming out from the inside. Let's see whether the pair of flinch
Maybe
coming
he
out.
wants a flinch for all we know. So
And
Xerneas goes for a
Geomancy setting
Geomancy.
out.
So he wants the Bronzong to flinch.
And we can see both Rock Slide here actually.
So you know, in the end, like he's relying on hacks, but
Yes.
you know, this is how Pokemon is. This is how Pokemon works.
So let's
So-
see whether the Rock Slide pay off.
And the Kyogre
But
actually,
the Gyro Ball activate did actually hit connect to
and
the
this will actually hit and pick
Xerneas.
up, and does not pick up the KO on the Xerneas even with the Geomancy boost. This is a interesting change of turns right now. Now the Precipice Blades will be able to deal enough damage, since that the Xerneas will be able to pull off. But no, actually goes for a Protect. Okay, very obvious move there. I think the Xerneas should go for a Protect as well this turn.
Nope,
Nope,
the
actually
Moonblast
goes for- and
coming
no,
out
actually goes
and
into
single
the-
target into the Bronzong.
Now this will not be able to pick up the KO definitely.
The Rock Slide coming out, so let's
So we pull off
Maybe
another flinch.
flinch.
I don't think it
So
will
let's
reach this
see.
turn. Yep,
Nope,
and
the Gyro Ball did
Gyro Ball
connect
be able to
here.
connect.
And this will pick up the KO to the Xerneas and left Kevin with one Groudon.
It is
to
not
remain on the
enough
field
for
here.
his. I think honestly, right, he should just go for a Trick Room that turn even to the Gyro Ball. Because next time you can just pick up the KOs easily, knowing that the Groudon is faster. Regardless, here we go. Kevin going in for a final Rock Slide Fiesta.
And the Scout coming out, so
Scout
it's
not being
not
able
able
to
to
flinch. So congratulations to Poh Yu Jie for going once again to the finals of the Malaysia Regionals
Yes.
VGC 2016. And we congratulate Kevin also for doing an excellent job in Rock
And-
Slide flinching his opponent.
Yeah, I managed to pull off to the top 4 is a very good achievement.
Yeah,
for
in
Kevin
regionals
as well.
itself. So both players already have qualified for World. So this could just be an accumulation of points for them in the end.
Correct. Actually, for top 8 today, we did see a lot of good players, or a lot of players actually already collected enough points to go to the world.
That's true. So regardless of what happens later on, we hope that the players of the final show great mettle and great skill as well.
True. So actually, I think it's a good practice for those preparing for the nationals and going to the worlds.
Yeah, I
this
guess
year.
at the end of the day, it's just how they choose to perform, whether or not they want to perform well in finals. So
Correct.
we'll see you later in the finals of the second Malaysia Pokemon VGC Regionals 2016, and stay tuned.